Chapter 1. I need you to fake a private plane crash for me, so I can finally leave Ethan Blackwood. Hearing Luna Morgan's request, her best friend Penny Jones's jaw nearly hit the floor. She thought she was hearing things. It was just like when she first heard the news that the two of them were getting married. A poor girl from the mountains and the privileged heir of Z-City, they were worlds apart. No one could have imagined they would end up together. Speculation was rampant. Some guessed Ethan Blackwood was just looking for a novelty. Others believed he was in love with someone he couldn't have, and Luna was merely a substitute. There were even those who wagered he had married her as part of a bet. But in the 3 years after their wedding, Ethan proved through his actions that there was no other reason for the marriage. He simply loved Luna Morgan, and he was madly in love with her. Ethan had fallen for Luna at first sight and launched a relentless pursuit. Beyond showering her with an endless stream of gifts, he donated billions of dollars in her name to major charities and built Luna elementary schools around the world. He wanted everyone in the world to know and thank Luna, so that if she ever faced hardship, there would always be someone willing to lend her a hand. To spend more time with her, he worked part-time jobs alongside her waiting tables, handing out flyers, sorting packages. The young master, who had never even washed his own clothes at home, gritted his teeth and did it all with her for 2 full years. His slender hands, once meant for playing the violin, became calloused. With this sincerity, he finally won Luna's heart. But the vast gap in their family backgrounds meant his parents were firmly against their relationship. To gain his parents' approval, he endured family punishment 16 times, beaten so badly that his back still bore the scars of a whip. When he realized this was futile, he renounced his inheritance and struck out on his own to start from scratch that way. No one could interfere with his freedom to marry whom he loved. His friends in their social circle thought he'd lost his mind. How could such a shrewd man give up a mountain of gold that could last 10 lifetimes, all for one woman? His family, left with no other choice, finally consented to his marriage to Luna. After they were married, he replaced all the female staff around him with men. Even though Luna never asked, he reported his itinerary to her in meticulous detail and installed a tracking system so she could check up on him anytime. People online called it a fairytale romance, the ultimate victory for true love. For a time, the buzz around their relationship exploded, eclipsing that of many celebrities. But no one except Luna knew that this seemingly perfect husband had fathered a pair of twins with another woman and had started another family behind her back. When Luna found out, the pain was so intense she coughed up blood and fainted. Hearing the news, Ethan dropped a multi-billion-dollar deal and rushed back to the country, staying by her side day and night for 2 days. When Luna awoke, he was anxiously watching over her, holding the IV tube in his hand to warm the fluid inside. "You're awake? You scared me to death." Ethan pressed her hand to his cheek, his eyes welling with tears. This was a man who wouldn't even flinch with a gun to his head during a business deal, yet when he heard Luna had coughed up blood, he was so panicked his legs went weak. Gazing into his eyes, filled with worry and anxiety, Luna felt her heart tear to shreds. The love in his eyes was undeniable. He truly loved her. But she couldn't help but wonder if this same man, who loved her so deeply, had also looked at Ivy Croft with the same gaze and whispered the same sweet nothings to her. Ivy Croft, his mistress and his childhood friend. Back when news of Ethan pursuing Luna first spread, Ivy had led a group of girls to bully Luna at school. She would show up at Luna's part-time jobs to find fault and humiliate her, costing Luna several positions. She even hired thugs to assault her, but Ethan, who had come to confess his feelings, happened to interrupt them. At the time, he had shown no regard for their family's long-standing friendship and drove the Croft family to bankruptcy. If his mother hadn't intervened, he might have killed Ivy on several occasions. That was why, if she hadn't seen the incriminating videos and the paternity test with her own eyes, Luna would never have believed Ethan was cheating on her, and that the children were already a year old. Luna closed her eyes and turned her head away as tears streamed down her face, soaking a large patch of her pillow. Ethan didn't see her tears. He thought she was just tired. "Luna, the doctor just examined you and found out you're 2 months pregnant. We're going to have our own child," usually cold and aloof in public. He was now as happy as a child. "Our wedding anniversary is in 5 days, and now you're pregnant. It's a double blessing," Luna's eyes shot open. As a child, she had been kicked into a frozen river by her father and submerged for a long time. The incident had damaged her health, and many doctors had told her she would likely never be able to conceive. Because of this, Ethan's parents, who were already displeased with her, had given her a hard time on several occasions. Luna had endured it because they were Ethan's parents, but Ethan couldn't stand to see her suffer for his sake. He had told them coldly, "Luna is the woman I love. The fact that she's willing to be with me is a blessing from a past life. If you give her any grief about having children, then we'll sever our family ties and never see each other again." Luna gently caressed her lower abdomen, unable to hold back her sobs any longer. Why did this child have to come at such a terrible time? Ethan pulled her into his arms, murmuring sweet reassurances. "Why are you suddenly crying? Did someone upset you? I'll make them pay." But at that moment, Luna caught a faint, unfamiliar scent of perfume on him, mixed with the smell of baby formula. She shoved him away violently and leaned over the side of the bed, retching. Ethan, thinking it was morning sickness, instinctively cupped his hands near her mouth, completely unconcerned about being vomited on. He watched her with worry. Of course, he was thrilled about his wife's pregnancy, but he had been there for Ivy's entire pregnancy and birth. He knew how much women suffered through pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum recovery. Luna stared blankly at Ethan. She knew he had severe mysophobia, yet he was willing to go to such lengths for her. He even personally hand-washed every piece of her clothing and every pair of her shoes. He had given her 3 years of wholehearted love, and Luna had given him the same. She truly couldn't live without him anymore. For a moment, she was tempted to abandon her principles, thinking that if Ethan would just break it off with Ivy, they could go back to how they were. But in the next instant, he received a message and left in a hurry, claiming there was an urgent matter at the office. Half an hour later, Luna received a photo from Ivy Croft. In it, Ethan was holding the twins, leaning down to kiss their foreheads. The picture shattered all her illusions. After leaving the hospital, she went to find Penny and asked her to fake a plane crash. She knew Ethan. He would never agree to a divorce and he would never let her go. He would simply go insane. Chapter 2. After returning from Penny's place, Luna immediately went to another state to schedule an abortion. The Blackwood family was full of powerful and well-connected people. If she had tried to do it in the city, Ethan would have received the news before she even got to the operating room. Right before she went into surgery, Ivy sent her another video. It was 2.5 hours long. In the video, Ivy was dressed in sexy lingerie while Ethan wore a sharp suit. A table nearby was covered with various toys. The kitchen, the desk, the entryway, they tore at each other in every corner of the room. The Ethan in the video was a frenzied version of him she had never seen before. Every scene felt like a knife twisting in her heart, yet, as if torturing herself, she watched the entire video. "Ma'am, it's time for your procedure." "But, are you in a state to go through with it?" the doctor asked with concern. Luna then realized she was drenched in tears, her body shaking uncontrollably. She wasn't just crying out of sadness, but because she recognized that even after knowing about Ethan's betrayal, she couldn't let go of her love for him. He was a living, breathing person, not a piece of clothing she could simply discard. Tearing him out of her life felt like prying open her own chest, ripping out her bleeding heart, and shredding it to pieces. She wiped away her tears and decided to give Ethan one last chance. She called him. "Where are you right now? I miss you. Can you come back?" Ethan's voice was tense, as if he was holding something back. "Honey, there's something really important at the office tonight." He let out a grunt, and his speech suddenly quickened. "I won't be coming back tonight." With that, he hung up the phone. Luna froze, tears streaming down her face. He had never actively hung up on her before. This was the first time. A few minutes later, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "I'm fine now. Let's proceed with the surgery." Late that night, she dragged her exhausted body home. A message from Penny came through. "Baby, everything is set. It's a go in 2 days." Luna collapsed onto the bed. Throughout the night, she would fall asleep only to wake up crying. In the early hours of the morning, she sat huddled in the darkness, hugging her knees until dawn. The next morning, Ethan returned. He took off his overcoat and waited for the winter chill to dissipate from his body before walking over to embrace Luna. He opened his tablet and pointed to an island. "Honey, Look at this island. I just bought it as a gift for our child. Also, I've started construction on amusement parks in every major city across the country. We'll name them after our child. When the baby is born, I'll host a 100-day banquet and invite everyone to celebrate." He finished his excited speech, only then realizing that Luna hadn't said a word since he walked in. He suddenly heard her quiet sobs. Moving to face her, he saw that her face was streaked with tears. "What's wrong?" He had never seen Luna cry like this before. He was so flustered that his voice trembled. If Luna was even the slightest bit unhappy, Ethan would feel 100 times the pain. All her emotions were magnified countless times within him. Seeing her tears now, his heart ached as if it were being squeezed and twisted. "I'm fine," Luna said, avoiding his touch. "Pregnant women are like this sometimes. They just suddenly feel like crying." "Really?" Ethan finally relaxed. "I'll stay home with you all day today, okay? What do you want to eat? I'll make it." "No, that's okay. I have a class reunion to attend this afternoon, and I need to visit a few of my old professors tonight. You should go take care of your business." Luna stood up. She was leaving the country, likely for good. Seeing them one last time, before she left, would be her farewell. Ethan was worried about her going out alone and insisted on accompanying her. The moment they entered the private room for the reunion, the group erupted in laughter. "I told you if Luna came today, Ethan would definitely follow. He's so scared she'll get lost." Ethan smiled good-naturedly, accepting their teasing as he personally handed out the gifts he had prepared. Everyone gasped. "Oh my God, is this the complete new collection from Chantel Neige? It must be 7 figures, Mr. Blackwood, you always spoil us with such lavish gifts." We're really basking in Luna's glow. Luna was very popular in college, and everyone present was a good friend. Ethan was more than willing to put in the effort to charm them. Because if they were happy, Luna would be happy. Everyone secretly marveled at the power of love, which had transformed the untouchable ice prince, Ethan Blackwood, into a sunflower that smiled at everyone. "Luna, I'm so jealous of you to have a husband who loves you so much." Hearing this, Luna didn't smile blissfully as she used to. She just offered a polite, distant smile. As the room filled with laughter and cheerful chatter, the door was suddenly pushed open. Ivy Croft, dripping with jewels, appeared before them. "Having a reunion and no one told me? Weren't we in the same class?" Chapter 3. Ivy Croft's arrival cast a sudden pall over the room. As if oblivious to the unwelcoming atmosphere, she sat down across from Luna and scanned the gifts in everyone's hands with a smug smile. "Chantel Neige, a very famous brand, but I suppose none of you knew that I founded it." Hers. Everyone was skeptical. Her family had been driven to bankruptcy by Ethan. She had been run out of the country. How could she have possibly founded such a luxury brand? "My family did go through some changes back then," Ivy said, her gaze sweeping over Ethan before landing on Luna with a provocative smile. "But then I met my husband. 2 years ago, he invested billions and pulled a lot of strings to help me start my company. And it's not just this one. He's opened 26 companies for me." Luna's breath caught in her throat. She remembered a period 2 years ago when Ethan had been exceptionally busy. He had told her the company was expanding into overseas markets, but it turned out he was busy setting up companies for Ivy Croft. A sharp pain spread from her chest, and Luna instinctively clutched at her heart. "What's wrong, honey? Are you not feeling well?" Ethan immediately stood up, his voice laced with panic. "I'll call a doctor." Ivy sneered. "Luna Morgan, Mr. Blackwood treats you like a delicate flower, so why do you still look so half-dead all the time?" The moment she finished speaking, Ethan's face darkened. He brutally slapped her across the face. "Shut your mouth and get out, or I'll make sure you can never speak again." Ivy clutched her cheek, huffed, and left the room reluctantly. Once she was gone, the lively atmosphere returned, but Luna's face remained deathly pale. Ethan squeezed her hand, worried. "Honey, what is it? Where does it hurt? The doctor will be here soon." Luna pushed him away. "I'm fine. I'm going to the restroom. Don't follow me." The moment she stepped into the hallway, Ivy blocked her path. "Don't think you're so important just because Ethan hit me for you," she sneered. "I gave him a son and a daughter. His heart is already leaning towards me. Do you want to bet that if I tell him the children have a fever, he'll come running to me in a second?" When Luna returned to the room, Ethan looked incredibly anxious, just as Ivy had predicted. He walked over and kissed Luna's forehead. Honey, something urgent came up at the office. I have to go. I've already told the manager to put everything on my tab. You and your friends have a good time. Luna gripped his sleeve tightly. Didn't you say you were going to spend the day with me? Stay, please. Looking into her eyes, which were a mixture of pleading and calm, Ethan felt a sudden surge of panic. He had a feeling that if he left today, he would lose something incredibly important. But Ivy had said the children were sick. They were his flesh and blood. He had to go see them. In the end, he pried her fingers off his sleeve one by one. Honey, I promise I'll be back to be with you tonight, okay? Luna took a deep breath. So Ethan's heart really was shifting away from her. Half an hour later, Ivy sent her a video. Even though she knew what it would contain, Luna's hand trembled as she pressed play. In the video, Ivy was crying pitifully. I can't live for a moment without seeing you. I went to the reunion because I missed you so much I couldn't stand it. But seeing you and Luna Morgan being so loving, I was so jealous I thought I'd go crazy. That's why I said those catty things. And then you hit me. Ethan smiled faintly. It was clear he was enjoying it. He brought a warm, hard-boiled egg to press against her swollen cheek. All right, stop crying, or you'll look like a little stray kitten. You can ask for anything you want as compensation. Then, the children's birthday is coming up. I want that new island you bought, as a birthday present for them. Ethan frowned. No, that's a gift for my child with Luna. Please, Daddy, I had a master look at their astrological charts. That island is perfectly aligned with them. It will bring them good fortune. You promised you'd compensate me. This time, he agreed. Ivy shot a triumphant, provocative smile at the camera, then sent a voice message. See, even something he promised you, all I have to do is ask, and he'll give it to me. You lose. Luna sat frozen, clutching her phone. She remembered a time when she had been injured at her part-time job, and Ethan had soothed her pain in the exact same way. So the things he did for her, he would also do for other women. In that moment, she felt utterly exhausted. But once she left Ethan, everything would be all right. Tomorrow, she would be free. Chapter 4. In the afternoon, Luna Morgan visited her old professor. Before she left, the elderly woman took her to a nearby monastery, saying it was particularly blessed and that she wanted to get a protective charm for Luna. When they arrived, a monk she had never met before called out her name. You must be wondering how I know you, benefactor, the monk said with a smile. A year ago, a gentleman named Ethan Blackwood donated $80 million to our monastery. He knelt and kowtowed every 3 steps from the foot of the mountain to get here, all to request a blessed charm for you. However, he didn't take it with him then. He left it here for us to consecrate with our prayers. Her professor was delighted. That young Ethan is so devoted to you, seeing you two so happy together sets my mind at ease. Luna lowered her eyes. The fondness for their shared past mixed with the pain of betrayal churned within her, disturbing the peace she had fought so hard to find. It's a fortunate coincidence that you are here today. Please take the charm with you. As she accepted the charm and turned to leave, the monk called out to her. Wait, benefactor Mr. Blackwood also requested 3 other charms at the time. Please take them with you as well. Luna took them, but when she saw the names written on them, she almost laughed. They were for Ivy Croft and the twins. That evening, Ethan returned to find Luna already asleep by herself. For years, they had always waited for each other, only able to fall asleep in each other's arms. This was the first time she hadn't waited for him. A sense of unease crept into Ethan's heart. He wrapped his arms around Luna, burying his face in the crook of her neck. I missed you so much, honey. It's only been a few hours, but it feels like centuries. If you weren't by my side one day, I don't think I could go on living. Is that so? Luna murmured softly. By the way, honey, there's something I wanted to discuss with you. About that island, I had a master look at it, and the feng shui isn't great. I bought 2 others instead, okay? Luna closed her eyes. Whatever you want. Sensing the coldness and impatience in her tone, Ethan grew more anxious. He asked cautiously, Honey, did I do something to make you angry? No, I'm just tired. She took a deep breath. Our anniversary is in a few days. I want to take the private jet abroad tomorrow afternoon. I ordered a gift overseas and I want to pick it up myself. But you're pregnant. A 15-hour flight is too exhausting. Why don't I go for you? Luna's voice took on a wheedling tone. No, I want to go myself. Hearing her playful tone melted Ethan's heart. He would have given her his life, let alone this. Okay, anything you say. The next morning, Ethan made breakfast and left, saying he had work to do. After he was gone, Luna began to pack. She opened the closet, took out all the clothes she had personally made for him, cut them into shreds, and threw them in the trash. All the jewelry and gifts Ethan had given her, she distributed among the housekeepers. The 16 photo albums they had compiled over 3 years, the ones they had promised to look through together when they were old, she threw them all into the fireplace. Just then, Ethan, who had forgotten an important document, returned and saw the photos burning in the flames. His mind went blank. He lunged forward without a second thought, reaching into the fire to salvage the last half of an album. "Honey," his voice trembled as he looked at Luna. "Why are you burning these?" Luna smiled. "No reason, I just thought we looked ugly in them. I didn't want to keep such ugly pictures." She walked over and took his burned hand. "We have a long future ahead of us. We can always take more. Why did you reach into the fire? Look how badly you've hurt your hand. Let's get a doctor to look at it." Seeing the concern in her eyes, the panic in Ethan's heart gradually subsided. He began to whine playfully. "It won't hurt if my wife blows on it for me." If his subordinates saw him now, they would think their cold-faced boss had been possessed. "You're a grown man, have you no shame?" Luna walked over, positioning herself to block the trash can filled with shredded clothes. After retrieving his documents, Ethan kissed Luna's forehead. "I'm off to the office. I'll be back for lunch." Not long after he left, she received another message from Ivy. "The Grand Lux Hotel, your husband is here. There's a good show waiting for you today." Luna fell silent. So every time he said he was going to the office, he was really going to see Ivy. Even though she knew what she would see there would break her, Luna went anyway. It turned out to be the twins' birthday. Ethan, his parents, and his friends were all gathered to celebrate. They held a party at the hotel, where the service staff addressed Ivy as Mrs. Blackwood. Ethan didn't correct them. Instead, he exchanged a smile with Ivy, his eyes shimmering with tenderness. And Ethan's parents beamed at Ivy with a warmth Luna had never seen. "If it weren't for kinking, I'd never be able to enjoy the happiness of having grandchildren. Jayayu, you must not wrong kinking. You have to treat her well, you hear me?" Ethan nodded with a smile. "When have I ever mistreated her? Does she lack anything that Luna has? Clothes, jewelry, rare treasures, didn't I prepare 2 of everything?" Luna had thought she could accept it all calmly, but at that moment, something exploded in her mind. All the loving memories of the past shattered into fragments, turning back to pierce her heart, leaving it a bloody mess. So, everyone knew. And for a long time, what she had believed was unique and special was all a lie. Whatever was given to her, Ivy also had. And what wasn't given to her, Ivy had that too. Chapter 5. She hid behind a pillar outside the ballroom and overheard a conversation between Ethan and his cousin, Rosalind Blackwood. "I mean, cousin, are you really planning to live like this forever?" Rosalind frowned. "You can't hide the truth forever. No matter how well you conceal it, your wife will find out one day." Ethan laughed. "I love Luna, but Ivy has given me children. I can't just abandon her. Living like this for the rest of my life seems fine. But what if you can't hide it anymore?" "What's your plan then?" Rosalind mumbled. "You're being unfaithful to your marriage. It's so unfair to your wife. That day will never come. Haven't we managed just fine for the past 2 years?" Ethan was still confident. "I know I've wronged Luna. I'll just have to be extra good to her to make up for it." Rosalind rolled her eyes in disdain. "You think love can be compensated for with material things? As your cousin, let me give you a piece of advice. Little uncle is coming back to the country soon. He's so old-fashioned and despises this kind of messy affair. You'd better hide your little mistress well. If he finds out, he'll definitely expose you." Luna slid down the pillar, slumping to the floor. Her heart had gone numb from the pain. Now, all she felt was disgust. She stumbled out of the hotel, but the relentless emotional blows of the past few days had taken their toll. Her vision went black and she collapsed. When she woke up, she was in an unfamiliar room. A man in an impeccable suit and rimless glasses was sitting on the sofa by the bed. He was flipping through a thick stack of documents. Though his face was expressionless, his handsome, striking features exuded an intimidating aura. Luna sat up. It took her a few seconds to recognize the man before her. It was Ethan's younger uncle, Donovan Blackwood. He spent most of his time overseas on business, so Luna had only met him a few times. She only knew that Ethan was a little afraid of this uncle, who was just 3 years his senior. When Ethan was a mischievous child, his parents couldn't bring themselves to discipline him, so it was always Donovan who did the punishing. Ethan's assessment of him was stern and strict, a man who does everything by the book. "You're awake," the man closed the file in his hands. "The doctor said you recently had a miscarriage and fainted due to extreme emotional distress." He walked slowly toward Luna. "Jayu doesn't know about the miscarriage, does he? Otherwise, he would have gone crazy by now, and he certainly wouldn't have let you collapse alone on the street." Luna was silent for a long time. "Thank you for today, but please don't tell him about this." Seeing that Donovan didn't seem inclined to agree, she pleaded in a low voice, "I'm begging you." Donovan was taken aback. There was clearly a problem between the couple. Logically, he should tell Ethan about this. But for some reason, his heart softened, and he found himself agreeing to keep her secret. He had someone drive Luna home. Not long after she returned, Ethan came back as well. "Honey, what do you want for lunch? I'll cook." Worried that the chefs wouldn't be attentive enough or that their cooking wouldn't suit Luna's tastes, he had personally prepared all her meals for years, no matter how busy he was. He then took out a set of jewelry. "The custom-made set is here. See if you like it, honey." Luna glanced at it. The design was identical to the one he had given Ivy Croft today. She couldn't help but laugh out loud. All this time, what she thought was his special favor was just a cheap, duplicated sentiment. "No, thank you. I want to go to the Hideaway." The Hideaway was an estate Ethan had built for Luna 5 years ago. It held many precious memories. It was at the Hideaway that Ethan's 97th proposal had finally succeeded. It was where they first held hands, first kissed. And it was there that Ethan proposed to her, vowing to love only her for the rest of his life. But it was near the suburbs, and because they found it too far, they rarely went there after getting married. It was now noon. At 3 in the afternoon, she would fly away from this place forever. One last look would serve as a final farewell. Ethan froze, a panicked look on his face. Ivy had been pestering him to let her stay there, so he had given her the key. She had taken the children there to play today. "Okay, we'll go after lunch." He slipped into the kitchen and secretly sent a message to Ivy, telling her to leave immediately. At 1 in the afternoon, they arrived at the estate. The moment she stepped inside, Luna sensed something was wrong. The roses in the garden had been replaced with lilies. The pale green curtains were now pink. There was even a children's rocking horse in the living room. It was obvious someone else had been living here, but she pretended not to notice anything and went straight upstairs. There were still a few photo albums of her and Ethan in the bedroom. She wanted to take them with her and burn them. The thought of leaving them here disgusted her. But the moment she opened an album, she froze on the spot. Inside were photos of Ethan and Ivy Croft, with the twins. The 4 of them in a lavender field, under the Eiffel Tower, in a hot air balloon. These were all places Ethan had once taken her, places that held unforgettable memories. But it turned out that on countless days and nights she knew nothing about, he had taken another woman to those same places, personally defiling the last piece of memory that was exclusively theirs. Seeing Luna's face turn visibly pale, Ethan walked over. "What's wrong, honey?" Luna snapped the album shut and smiled. "Nothing, I want to go home now." She turned to go downstairs, but Ethan's phone suddenly buzzed. A look of panic crossed his face. "Honey, I need to use the restroom. Can you wait for me downstairs?" Luna nodded and left, but a few minutes later she returned. Outside the bathroom door, she heard Ethan's anxious voice. "Didn't I tell you to leave with the children? Why are you still here?" "I wanted to play a little game with you," Ivy's seductive voice cooed. "We've done it in your marital bed, right in front of your wedding photo. But with her just downstairs, doesn't this feel even more thrilling?" Ethan's breathing grew heavy. "You little vixen," the sound of splashing water and other, more indecent noises followed. Luna stood outside the door, her heart completely still. She just wondered how the man she loved could have turned into this. Like a poppy in the mud, alluring, yet reeking of decay. Or perhaps he had always been this person, and she had just never seen it. She remembered a long time ago, when Ethan first introduced her to his social circle. Those wealthy and powerful heirs had offered their congratulations to their faces, but mocked Ethan behind his back for being a fool, for being devoted to just one person. With their status, they could have easily kept 10 women at once. Back then, Ethan had said, "I'm not like them, I only love you." It turned out he wasn't any different. They were all just as rotten. It was only a matter of time. Luna let out a small laugh and quietly made her way downstairs. She had come from the mountains. Her mother was a victim of human trafficking. Because she hadn't given birth to a son, she and her mother endured daily beatings from her father. At 13, she ran away from the mountains, and the first thing she did was put her own father in prison. Her father cursed her to a miserable death. Her mother, though freed, was not grateful, because Luna was the living proof of her humiliation, a festering wound in her life. Growing up in such a twisted family, Luna had learned to build a wall around her heart, keeping everyone at a distance. But at 18, Ethan burst into her life. He was like an eternal flame, relentlessly melting the ice around her heart, gently soothing all the pain of her past. He gave Luna countless amounts of love, and in doing so, gave her the ability to love again. But it was also him who, at the peak of her happiness, dealt her the deepest, most painful blow. This scar would never heal. Chapter 6. A few minutes later, Ethan came out of the manor. Luna watched him in silence for a moment, then suddenly raised her hand, showing him the bracelet on her wrist. "You made this for me yourself, but today I noticed it's faded. Jayayu, tell me, will your love for me ever fade?" "How could it?" Ethan's expression was sincere. He took her hand and pressed a devout kiss upon it. "My love for you will only grow stronger every day." Luna let out a cryptic laugh. "He loves me, yet he still deceives and plays me like this." She had originally planned to leave quietly, but now she had changed her mind. She wanted revenge for Ethan's duplicity, for fooling her for 2 whole years. Revenge for him breaking his promises, leaving her alone to suffer in agony. Revenge for him giving her love, only to inflict a wound that would never heal. Luna raised her arms and embraced him. "Jayayu, I love you too. So, you have to wait for me and our child to come back, to celebrate our 3rd wedding anniversary with you. Oh, and," she took out a file folder and placed it carefully in his hands, "this is a gift for you. You can only open it in 2 days." Inside were the documents from her abortion and screenshots of the videos Ivy had sent her. When the news of her plane crash arrived that afternoon, he would surely open this file. Then he would know that it was his affair that had broken her heart, causing him to lose the child he had so eagerly awaited, and even leading to the death of the wife he cherished. She wanted him to spend every day of his future in pain and regret. "Okay, I'll wait for you to come back." Ethan's eyes sparkled with hope. "Honey, let me take you to the airport now." Luna shook her head, refusing. He had already walked with her long enough on this journey of life. For this final stretch before parting, she didn't want his company. "You don't have to take me. I know you're a busy man. Someone will be looking for you again soon." Ethan paused. Was it his imagination, or was there a hint of mockery in his wife's words? A sense of unease suddenly filled his heart. The next moment, his phone rang. It was a message from Ivy. "Daddy, wasn't that fun enough earlier? After you send your wife off, how about you come back and we continue?" Attached was a photo of her wearing Luna's lingerie. Ethan's breath hitched, and the unease in his heart was instantly consumed by the flames of desire. The first time he had slept with Ivy, it was after his parents had gotten him drunk. At the time, he felt so dirty he wanted to kill himself, but Ivy had knelt on the floor, begging him without a shred of dignity. "Even though you ruined my family, I still love you, Jayayu. I'll really die without you. I'll do anything to make you happy, to please him." She had truly abandoned all limits, engaging in all sorts of kinky games. She tried everything he had ever seen and things he hadn't. Finally, she put on Luna's clothes and said, "You can pretend I'm her. All the things you wouldn't dare do to her, you can do to me." In that moment, a fire ignited within Ethan. He had had many vulgar fantasies about Luna, but whenever he got close to her, those thoughts made him feel filthy. The fantasies would fade, leaving only a reverent, almost sacred love. But with Ivy, he didn't need to hold back. All his fantasies could be realized through her. "Well then, honey, I won't take you to the airport. Be careful on your way." Before leaving, Luna took one last look at him, only to see his back. She whispered her farewell. "Goodbye, Ethan Blackwood, and farewell forever." A few hours later, as Ethan was tangled up with Ivy in the big bed at the hideaway, he received a call from his assistant. "This had better be something monumental," Ethan said, his voice laced with annoyance at being interrupted. The assistant's voice trembled. Mr. Blackwood, we just received news. Your wife, her plane, just after it left domestic airspace, over the ocean, it crashed. Ethan's pupils contracted. The blood in his veins froze in an instant. What did you say? Chapter 7. Daddy, why did you stop? Ivy's body slithered against his. Normally, Ethan would have pounced on her, but now he was as motionless as a statue. A few seconds later, he suddenly collapsed, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. The crimson stained a large patch of the bedsheets. Amidst Ivy's terrified screams, he struggled to his feet and stumbled towards the garage. Nothing could have happened to Luna. He had to go find her himself once in the car. He saw the file folder Luna had left for him still sitting on the passenger seat. Ethan's insides twisted in agony. He gasped for air, but the pain seeped into his bloodstream with every breath, consuming him. How could he have let Luna fly the plane alone? Why hadn't he arranged for experienced pilots to accompany her? Why? Because a person's attention is finite. He had been busy preparing for the twins' birthday, so of course, he hadn't had the mind to focus on such trivial details. The search and rescue operation lasted for 2 full days, covering hundreds of miles of the surrounding sea, but no signs of survivors were found. The rescue team chose their words carefully, trying not to provoke Ethan. After all, everyone knew the depth of his love for Luna. Mr. Blackwood, when a plane crashes in the ocean, the chances of survival are virtually zero. So Mrs. Morgan, she may have perished. Tears streamed down Ethan's face. He was now as limp as a rag doll, unable to stand on his own, supported only by the people around him. But hearing the word perished, he suddenly lunged forward, grabbing the rescuer by the collar, his eyes bloodshot as he screamed, "You're full of it, how dare you curse my wife, she's not dead, don't you dare say she's dead." His assistant finally managed to pull him away. Ethan stood there for a long moment, then murmured, "Today is our wedding anniversary. She said she'd wait for me to come back." He had prepared a grand celebration, but now the ceremony had turned into a funeral. He didn't stay at the crash site. Instead, he went to the ballroom alone. Staring at the massive wedding photo in the center of the room, his tears flowed again. The thought that while Luna's plane was crashing, he was tangled up with Ivy Croft made him want to kill the man he was at that moment. "Luna, were you scared then?" He gently caressed Luna's face in the photo. "I promised I would never leave you alone, so just wait for me, I'm coming with you." He shoved a full bottle of sleeping pills into his mouth and lay down, cuddling the wedding photo. The pills took effect quickly, but he didn't die. The hotel manager noticed something was wrong and called for an ambulance. When he woke up, his parents were weeping over him. "How could you be so foolish? Did you even think about your mother and me before you did something so stupid?" Ethan's eyes were vacant. "Just pretend you never had an unfilial son like me. Without Luna, I can't go on living." Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood fainted from grief on the spot. Donovan Blackwood looked at him with a headache. This nephew of his had turned against the entire clan for Luna Morgan 3 years ago. Now that she was dead, he wanted to commit suicide to follow her. What kind of magic did Luna Morgan possess to have him so utterly bewitched? Just as he was about to offer some words of counsel, Ethan suddenly grabbed his hand. "Little uncle, there's a file folder on the passenger seat of the car I usually drive. Could you get it for me, please?" It was the gift Luna had left for him before she departed. He had no hope left for living, but before he died, he wanted to open this final gift. Chapter 8. After instructing the nurse to keep a close watch on him, Donovan Blackwood went to retrieve the file folder himself. When he returned, however, he saw an extra woman and 2 children in the hospital room. The woman was crying. "Even if you don't think about anything else, think about your own flesh and blood," Donovan frowned, his hand freezing on the door. What was going on? As far as he knew, Ethan and Luna didn't have any children. Where did this flesh and blood come from? Could it be that he had cheated during his marriage? "If you die, I'll take these 2 children and die with you. Without you, my life has no meaning either." Inside the room, Ethan seemed moved. He raised his hand and stroked Ivy Croft's hair, sighing softly, "Why must you do this?" Donovan entered with a cold expression and tossed the file folder onto Ethan. "What you asked for." As Ethan opened the folder and took out its contents, Ivy was still holding his hand, pouring her heart out. "Jayu, although I didn't like Luna, I'm also very sad about what happened to her. But the dead are gone and the living must go on. Don't do anything foolish again. From now on, let me walk the rest of the way with you, okay? She had held back for so long, finally waiting for the day Luna Morgan died. From now on, Ethan Blackwood would belong to her alone. She was lost in daydreams of their beautiful future, struggling to suppress the smile at the corners of her lips, oblivious to Ethan's increasingly grim expression. The next second, Ethan hurled the contents of the folder at her face. He stood up, his face ashen, and lunged, his hands clamping around her neck. I told you before, you can have anything you want, but Luna must never know about this. But how dare you reveal this to Luna, how dare you provoke her again and again? I didn't. Ivy tried to deny it, but her eyes fell on the papers on the floor. It was the report from Luna's abortion, along with screenshots of her chat history with Luna. Her pupils shrank. She had assumed that with Luna's pride, she would have divorced or left Ethan directly, rather than exposing all of this. She never imagined Luna would leave this behind before she died. That bitch Ethan's grip tightened. At that moment, he truly regretted not having killed this menace years ago. Just before he could strangle Ivy, Donovan pulled him away. That's enough. Are you trying to commit murder? Having narrowly escaped death, Ivy was truly terrified. She shrank away from Ethan, sobbing and accusing. I followed you for 2 years without any status, bore your children, and you actually wanted to kill me. She had been attracted to Ethan's wealth and power, but she had also genuinely liked him as a person. But at this moment, any love she had was curdled into hatred. Do you think it's all my fault that things have come to this? If you could have controlled yourself, would I have had the chance to provoke Luna Morgan? Now you want to push all the blame onto me? Dream on. Let me tell you, maybe Luna's plane didn't crash. Maybe she killed herself out of despair, and the one who drove her to suicide was you. Those words nailed Ethan to the spot. In the silence, all the strange occurrences of the past few days flashed before his eyes, and a thought sparked in his mind. A moment later, he burst out laughing. Luna can't be dead, she must be hiding somewhere. He knew Luna well. She possessed a strong life force like a weed. Even knowing he had cheated, she would never commit suicide. She would only leave him, hiding in a place where he could never find her. Because she knew him, just as well, knew that he would never agree to a divorce. Someone get me someone, immediately find out who Luna was in contact with these past few days. Chapter 9. Luna Morgan had been abroad for 3 months. During this time, she kept her curtains drawn, spending entire days alone in her room, lost in thought. She knew her low spirits were because of Ethan. Although she had removed him from her life, the past was too deeply etched in her memory. He had even become a habit. When Penny took her out to dinner and she tasted a dish she liked, she would turn to the empty space beside her and say, "Honey, this is delicious. I'll need you to recreate it when we get home." The words would startle both Penny and herself. At night, she would habitually reach out to embrace the person beside her in bed, only to grasp at empty air. Insomnia would follow. Getting dressed in the morning also felt strange in the past. Ethan had managed her wardrobe, and every piece of clothing carried the scent of a perfume he had carefully selected. Now, the clothes from the dry cleaners had no scent at all. Over the past few years, Ethan had gently woven himself into every aspect of her life. They were like 2 different colored threads, spun together into a single, tightly intertwined cloth. She needed some time to readjust to a life alone, and to completely remove Ethan from her existence. 3 months later, Luna had adjusted to her new life. She could take good care of herself and rarely thought of Ethan anymore. In college, Luna had earned a dual degree in software engineering and artificial intelligence. She loved programming because, in the binary world of ones and zeros, everything was certain. Once you mastered the rules, you could use that certainty to create infinite uncertainty. She liked the tangible sense of control it gave her. She had worked in the field ever since graduation and had accumulated a wealth of experience. Recently, she had been trying to develop her own tech brand. About 3 months later, the product development was complete. She found various factories and self-funded a production run. After all the necessary permits were approved, the product was launched. Luna had only intended to test the waters, but the response was unexpectedly positive. Not only did it attract a large consumer base, but it also drew in a crowd of investors eager to partner with her. Luna didn't want to appear in person, fearing she might be recognized and cause unnecessary trouble. So, she entrusted all business matters to Penny. From a long list of companies, Penny chose the one that was the most generous and had the most resources. After negotiating the contract online, it was time to sign it in person. Coincidentally, the CEO of the partner company was currently in the small town, so Penny didn't have to travel far. She could just meet with him directly. At the appointed time, Penny walked into the designated meeting place. The moment Donovan Blackwood saw Penny, he froze. If he wasn't mistaken, this young woman was Penny, Luna Morgan's best friend. According to Ethan's investigation, the crashed plane had been remotely controlled, and Penny was an expert in that field. This meant Luna was not dead. The plane that went down was empty. Furthermore, Luna had only spoken to Penny twice before the accident. Therefore, it was highly likely that Penny had helped Luna go into hiding. Her presence here could only mean one thing: Luna was here too. Chapter 10. Penny didn't recognize Donovan Blackwood, nor did she know her cover was blown. After she left, Donovan called his assistant in. "Find out where she lives and who she's living with." The assistant nodded. As he was about to leave, Donovan stopped him. "That girl, have you found her yet?" When Donovan was 9, he was framed by an enemy, kidnapped by human traffickers, and taken to a small, remote mountain village. Surrounded by hundreds of miles of sprawling mountains, he saw no way out. Just as he thought his life would rot away there, a girl named Chen Jayati saved him. She led him down a hidden path he had never seen before and stuffed a few hard buns into his hands. "Run this way and don't stop. By tomorrow afternoon, you'll be out of the mountains." Donovan grabbed her hand. "Then let's go together. If they find out you let me go, they'll beat you to death." Chen Jayati shook her head. "I can't leave. If I go, I have to take my mom with me, but her leg is broken. She can't walk." She was silent for a moment. "Little brother, when you get out, please call the police for me. My mother was trafficked here." After Donovan escaped, he fell gravely ill. When he recovered, he couldn't remember the location of the village. All he remembered were her stubborn, tear-filled eyes, the large scar on her ankle, and her name, Chen Jayati. He had been searching for her all these years. The assistant shook his head. "Mr. Blackwood, there are just too many girls with that name in the country. We're still working on it." Donovan suppressed his disappointment and waved his hand. "You may go." A few days later, Penny took Luna to a local pub for a drink. During their time there, they fended off a few men who tried to hit on them. "The guy I met for the contract signing the other day was inhumanly handsome, but his aura was so intimidating. He looked so intense. I didn't have the guts to ask for his personal number," Penny lamented. "Why did I have to chicken out? What a waste. I don't know when I'll ever meet a guy of that caliber again." But a second later, she shot up. "That guy who just walked by is so hot. Totally my type. I'll be right back." Not long after she left, Luna felt the sofa dip beside her. Thinking it was Penny, she leaned against the person's shoulder as she usually would and asked lazily, "Back so soon?" But as she leaned in, she realized the person's cologne was unfamiliar. Luna shot up, knocking over her drink and soaking her coat. As she frantically tried to wipe it clean, she apologized to the person next to her. "I'm so sorry, I mistook you for someone else," Donovan Blackwood spoke calmly. "It's all right." That voice, Luna's head snapped up. Donovan Blackwood in an instant, a wave of fear shot up her spine. What was he doing here? Did Ethan know she had faked her death? Were they here to drag her back? The questions flashed through her mind, but she had no time to think. Only one word dominated her thoughts: run, but as she turned, Donovan grabbed her wrist. He stood up, pushed her forward, and pinned her against the wall from behind. Donovan was wearing a large overcoat, so to others, it looked like he was embracing her from behind, just another amorous couple in the crowded pub. No one noticed the struggle. "Why are you running?" "I'm not going to do anything to you," Donovan said, his expression as cold as ever. "But you have to come back with me to see Jayayu." Chapter 11. Luna turned her head and glared at him. "Mr. Blackwood, where I go is my own business. You have no right to interfere. Now, please let me go." "True," Donovan said, not loosening his grip but tightening it. "But because you faked your death, Jayayu was constantly trying to commit suicide. When he figured out you weren't dead, he went crazy searching for you all over the world. The emotional whiplash has made him unstable. Don't you think you should come back with me, see him, and resolve this?" Luna was silent for a long time. "There's no need to see him again. We are strangers now. Donovan's brow furrowed slightly. Jayu cheated on you during your marriage. That was his fault. You can divorce him. Why do you keep running away instead of sitting down and talking about it? I am running away. But if there were another choice, who would want to give up everything to live in hiding? I chose this path not only to punish him for his infidelity, but also to ensure he has no chance to bother me again. Luna sighed softly. You don't know him at all. He won't agree to a divorce and he won't let go. He'll do something insane. If you really care about him, don't tell him you saw me. Donovan shook his head. I'm afraid I must refuse. You have to come back with me. Luna sneered. Fine. If you insist on forcing me back, you'll only be taking back a corpse. You! Donovan was stunned and instinctively let go of her hand. Luna seized the moment of his hesitation and bolted out of the pub. She and Penny bought plane tickets that very night and fled to another country. But the day after they settled in, she opened her door to find 2 neat rows of bodyguards standing outside. Watching Donovan Blackwood step out of a luxury car, Luna sighed in resignation. What exactly do you want? I'm here to propose a deal. I want you to stay within my sight. In exchange, I can grant you access to the core technology of all the tech companies under my name. Over the past few days, he had thoroughly investigated Luna. He knew her passion for technology, and the offer he was making was one she couldn't possibly refuse. If she agreed to stay, he could slowly persuade her to meet with Ethan. Of course, you can refuse. But no matter where you go, I'll have people follow you. Comparatively, accepting my offer is the more practical choice. Luna cursed him as a scheming businessman in her head, but with no other options, she agreed to his terms. Donovan arranged a villa for her, near his main headquarters. It's close to the company, convenient for you to study and observe. After he left, Penny slapped her own forehead in frustration. What a tangled mess. If I had known he was Ethan's uncle, I would have given the product away for free rather than partner with him. I'm so sorry, Luna. It's not your fault, Luna said, hugging her. Who could have known that in a world so large, they would stumble upon a company owned by Donovan Blackwood? Luna settled in for the time being, spending her days studying at Donovan's company and her nights developing her own products. Every few days, Donovan would visit, each time trying to persuade her to meet with Ethan. One day, she returned from the company to find Donovan sitting in her living room. And standing next to him, his face filled with emotion, was Ethan. Chapter 12. The moment he saw Luna, Ethan's eyes instantly reddened. For 7 long months, 214 days, he had dreamt of this reunion. Yet now that it was real, he was too afraid to move. He was afraid it was all a dream, but even more, he was terrified of the coldness and disgust he might see in her eyes. Luna, he whispered, his voice trembling. Luna glanced at him once before her gaze shifted, landing coldly on Donovan. Donovan, a titan of the business world, was used to being the one who intimidated others. This was the first time someone had looked at him with such disdain. He cleared his throat, a hint of discomfort in his voice. I saw that you've been much more stable recently, so I notified Jayu. His affair was wrong, but faking your death was also a mistake. Now I hope the 2 of you can sit down and talk this through calmly. Luna sneered. Calmly. Donovan, let me ask you, if you were married and your wife cheated on you, had 2 children with another man, hid it from you for 2 years, and repeatedly had sex with her lover in the place where you first fell in love, could you stay calm and talk it over with her? Donovan was rendered speechless. Ethan's face turned pale, and he lowered his head in shame. Ethan Blackwood, Luna said, her voice sharp. I faked my death because I wanted nothing more to do with you. But now that you've found me, let me make things crystal clear. There is no possibility for us. Don't delude yourself into thinking that by pestering me, you can win my forgiveness and we can mend our broken relationship. She paused for a moment. The day you were in bed with Ivy Croft at the hideaway, I stood outside the door and heard everything. I will never forget it for the rest of my life. If you have any shred of decency left, stay out of my sight. Because now, just looking at you reminds me of that day, and it makes me want to vomit. Ethan looked utterly devastated. He rushed forward and grabbed her hands, his words tumbling out in a desperate, incoherent rush. I was wrong. You can punish me however you want. You can even kill me if it makes you feel better. But please, don't leave me, Luna. I can't live without you. Luna pulled her hands free. Why would I want your life? As for how you choose to live it, That has nothing to do with me. She let out a sudden laugh. Ivy Croft gave you twins. Didn't your whole family know about it and accept her? You have a son and a daughter now. You can just build a life with her. Ethan grabbed her hands again, pleading desperately. I've cut ties with her. I'll never see her again. I'm begging you. Just give me a chance to make it up to you. He was so desperate he was about to fall to his knees. Luna grabbed him, stopping him. Don't you understand English? I said there is no longer any possibility for us to stop this pointless groveling. I can't live without you. Ethan was sobbing so hard he could barely speak. Donovan stood to the side, sighing. Though only 3 years older, he had watched Ethan grow up and had never seen him in such a pathetic, undignified state. Meanwhile, Luna, utterly fed up with Ethan's incessant crying and begging, made a rash decision. She pushed Ethan away and grabbed Donovan by the collar. Under his shocked and bewildered gaze, Luna pressed a firm kiss on his lips. Ethan's sobs were cut short as if by a switch. There's no chance for us, because I'm interested in your little uncle now. Donovan's pupils contracted. Chapter 13. Ethan's face was abnormally pale. You, Luna, don't say such things just to hurt me. What, you don't believe me? Your uncle is successful, handsome, and most importantly, he's clean. So what's so strange about me being interested in him? Luna smiled and reached for Donovan's tie again. The perpetually icy expression on Donovan's face finally cracked. He took several large steps back, a mixture of anger and panic on his face. Luna slowly walked towards him and grabbed his belt. She was smiling, but inwardly she despised Donovan. If it weren't for him, Ethan might never have found her. Her peaceful life would never have been disturbed. Since he had caused her so much trouble, she felt it was only right to give him a gift in return. Luna tilted her head up and kissed the pulse point on his throat. Little uncle, what cologne are you wearing? It smells so good. Donovan had never been this close to a woman in his entire life. He never dreamed he would be forcefully kissed twice by his own nephew's wife. He shoved Luna away forcefully. He couldn't get another word out. A wave of frustration washed over him, and with no other outlet, he turned, slammed the door, and left. Luna smiled at Ethan. Do I need to prove it to you any further? Ethan collapsed onto the floor, his face drained of all color. He knew Luna too well. Just by looking into her eyes, he knew what she was thinking. He knew she was doing this intentionally to anger him, to make him give up. But seeing her kiss another man still made his heart ache so much he could barely breathe. Suddenly, Ethan thought about when Luna had discovered his affair, when she had seen those disgusting videos of him and Ivy. Was her pain then 1,000 times worse than what he was feeling now? He closed his eyes, tears squeezing out from beneath his tightly shut lids. He had no one to blame but himself for how things had turned out. He had destroyed everything with his own hands. The next day, Luna went to Donovan's company to continue her studies. She ran into him in front of the elevator. Upon seeing her, Donovan's face cycled through shades of green, white, and red. A few seconds later, with a grim expression, he turned and headed for the stairwell. 20 minutes later, his assistant, panting and struggling to keep up, finally reached the top floor with Donovan. He cursed at his boss inwardly. Was he insane? There was a perfectly good elevator, but he insisted on walking up 20-something floors. It was absolute torture. That evening, when Luna returned to the villa, she found the air filled with the aroma of home-cooked food. She assumed it was Penny in the kitchen, but the next moment, Ethan emerged, wearing an apron and carrying a platter of food. You're back. The food is ready. Wash your hands and let's eat. Amidst the steam rising from the dishes, Luna felt a moment of disorientation. This scene had played out countless times over the past 3 years. No matter how busy he was, Ethan would always get home before her to cook. The moment she opened the door, she would be greeted by the smell of food and an embrace from him. That scene had once been her definition of happiness. But after everything that had happened, things were different now. Luna picked up a dish from the table and dumped its contents into the trash can. I made myself very clear yesterday. Don't do these pointless things. Ethan's face visibly paled and his smile froze. But a few seconds later, he smiled again. If these dishes aren't to your liking, I'll make something else. Luna's expression was cold and impatient. Ethan, do you need me to repeat what I said yesterday? You can say it as many times as you want, he said calmly, taking the empty plate back to the kitchen. But I won't listen, I won't leave you, and I will never give up. So from today on, I'm staying here to take care of you. Until Luna forgave him, or until he died first. Chapter 14. You're staying here, are you? Fine, then I'll leave. Just as she took a step, Ethan spoke calmly. Your friend Penny, as well as your friends and mentors back home, if you disappear from my life again, I will make sure they have no place to stand in this world. Luna's body went rigid. Ethan, don't you think you're shameless? I don't want to do this, Ethan said, expertly chopping vegetables, but he uncharacteristically cut his finger. He stared at the bleeding digit for a moment before continuing, but it's the most effective way, isn't it? Luna didn't answer. A dead silence fell over the large villa. He quickly prepared another meal and brought it to the table, but Luna had no appetite and didn't want to see him. She went straight upstairs to bed. Ethan followed with a tray of food. Tired already. Eat something before you sleep. Luna pulled the covers over her head. Get out. All right. When you're hungry, I'll make something fresh. Ethan took the food back downstairs, then came up again and lay down on the bed. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, his left hand holding her waist tightly. What are you doing? Let go, don't touch me, Luna struggled. Don't move, honey. Just let me hold you, he said, holding her firmly, his chin resting on her shoulder. He let out a contented sigh. After more than 7 months, he was finally holding the woman he loved again. In that moment, his drifting soul finally returned to his body. The long-lost sense of security made his eyes well up. He whispered, Luna, I miss you so much. I really, really miss you. Luna suddenly stopped struggling. She felt a wave of sadness wash over her. His love was real. But if he loved her so much, why did he cheat? Why did he destroy the relationship they had built together for so many years? If he had known it would come to this, why did he do it in the first place? Jayayu, I can't forget what you did, and I can't forgive you. It's impossible for us to be together again. What's the point of all this? Let's just part on good terms. Ethan didn't speak, only held her tighter. As the moon rose, he finally let go. I know you don't want to see me. I'll sleep in the guest room. He leaned down, wanting to give her a good-night kiss as he used to, but he straightened up again. Good night, he left, but Luna lay awake all night. She only fell asleep as the sky began to light. It was close to noon when the ringing of her phone woke her. Why didn't you come to the company today? It took her a moment to realize it was Donovan on the phone. She snapped, What's it to you whether I go or not? Do I need to report to you? Are you that bored? Donovan was taken aback by her hostility. He was about to say something else, but she had already hung up. Staring at the red call ended screen, Donovan suddenly felt a laugh bubble up, a laugh of pure frustration. Had he lost his mind today? What did he care if she came in or not? Why did he even call to check on her? And all he got for his trouble was an earful. Chapter 15. Meanwhile, Luna, now wide awake, couldn't get back to sleep. She washed up and went downstairs. Ethan had already prepared lunch and was waiting. Seeing her put on her coat to leave, Ethan stood up from the dining table and asked cautiously, Luna, the food is ready. Aren't you going to eat at home? Seeing you ruins my appetite. If I eat at home, I'll eventually starve to death. Ethan lowered his head. Then, come back early tonight. The only answer he received was the sound of the door slamming shut. Ethan knew Luna was angry and resentful, but they had years of history together. Once her anger subsided and she calmed down, there had to be a chance to salvage their relationship. The waiting, however, would be agonizing. He smiled bitterly. It was a pain he had brought upon himself. Luna left the villa with no desire to eat lunch, her mind a whirlwind of frustration. She used to be puzzled watching Penny and her boyfriend's on-again, off-again relationship. If you don't love him, leave. If you do, stay. Why get so entangled with one person? Now she understood. Love has inertia. Even after you decide to let go, that inertia continues to tear at your heart, bringing a relentless, lingering pain. Agitated, Luna went to the city's largest high-end club and ordered a dozen male escorts. One of the men took a sip of his drink and leaned in to pass it to her mouth to mouth. Luna didn't refuse. Just as their lips were about to touch, the door was kicked open with a loud bang. A large hand grabbed the escort and yanked him away. Donovan's face was as cold as ice. He scanned the escorts with a frigid gaze. All of you, get out. He then turned to Luna. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Luna leaned back on the sofa, sipping her drink. I do. But what's it to you? I paid for these men. You have no right to tell them to leave. You're the one who should go. Don't spoil my fun." They had barely exchanged a few words when Ethan, who had received the news, rushed in. His eyes swept over the escorts in the room, a cold, murderous glint in them. But the next second, he turned to Luna with a pleading look. "Honey, please come home with me. These men are all dirty." Luna scoffed. "They're dirty. And you're so clean?" Ethan froze, his face turning pale. "I know you have people watching me, which is why you got here so fast. But let me tell you, you can have a mistress, so why can't I find other men? Next time, don't come running over and ruining my mood. It's really a buzzkill. Think about it, even after I knew about you and Ivy Croft, when you went to have your little trysts with her, didn't I pretend not to know and let you have your fun? When did I ever act like you?" Ethan's face was now completely ashen. Luna's mocking gaze shifted to Donovan. "Little uncle, are you still here? My legally wedded husband doesn't even have the right to comment on me seeking out other men. Who do you think you are, judging my actions? If you're that bored, I suggest you go drink some water. All right, both of you get out now, and close the door on your way out." Ethan knew he was in the wrong and had no ground to stand on. But how could he leave and let Luna entertain other men here? The very thought made him explode with jealousy. Beside him, Donovan's chest heaved. He was furious at Luna's insolence, but even more furious with himself. He was here to discuss business today, but when he saw her about to kiss someone else, he had rushed in without a second thought. Why did he even care what she did? As the tension in the room reached a stalemate, a woman suddenly burst in. She threw herself at Ethan's legs. "Jayu, how can you be so cruel? Don't you care if your own children live or die?" Luna knew that voice all too well. It was Ivy Croft. Chapter 16. After nearly being strangled to death by Ethan, Ivy and he had become sworn enemies. Ethan had immediately frozen all of Ivy's accounts, reclaimed the 26 companies he had founded for her, 5 estates, 6 villas, and numerous other properties. He even demanded she return all the expensive jewelry he had given her. Overnight, Ivy Croft went from a billionaire to a debt-ridden pauper. She couldn't accept this reality, especially with 2 children to care for. She went to Ethan's parents, crying and begging them for help, asking how she and the children were supposed to survive. Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood, doting on their grandchildren, immediately called their son, hoping to mediate. "Oh dear, just a few days ago you said you'd treat Kinking well. Why are you doing this to her now? That Luna Morgan is dead. Are you going to abandon your own children for her? That's your own flesh and blood. It was wrong of Kinking to provoke Luna, but as a woman who wants to be a mistress forever without a title, it's understandable that she'd want to fight for her position." At that time, Ethan was frantically searching for any trace of Luna. Hearing his mother's words, he replied coldly, "Mom, if you take in Ivy Croft and those 2 children, we will sever our ties. If you still want me as your son, then get rid of all 3 of them." His mother initially thought he was just angry and let Ivy stay at the family home. To her surprise, the very next day, Ethan announced in all major media outlets that he had cut ties with his parents and was immediately flying back to the country to handle the legal procedures. The shock sent his mother to the hospital with a heart attack. After she recovered, she immediately kicked Ivy out and never dared to help her again. Grandchildren were important, but her son was her own flesh and blood. Ivy had lost all her support and was living in poverty. This time, she had finally managed to track down Ethan and had scraped together enough money for a ticket to find him. She believed that seeing him in person would soften his heart. Even if he wouldn't shower her with money as he used to, he would at least ensure she was financially secure for the rest of her life. Otherwise, where would she get money from? "Jayu, you can't be so heartless. Look at these children. They're so thin you're their father. Can't you spare them a thought?" Ivy cried pitifully. "Our children can already say daddy." The 2 children chimed in with a sweet daddy. To the side, Luna burst out laughing. The scene unfolding before her was utterly absurd. Ethan's face was ashen. He called for security to drag Ivy out, but she clung to his leg, refusing to let go, wailing that the children couldn't live without their father. She pleaded with him to remember their past intimacy, begging him not to be so cruel. Honestly, the scene of a mistress showing up with children was enough to anger even Donovan. He instinctively glanced at Luna, but she was watching with great interest, slowly peeling and eating some fruit. Donovan had been abroad for years, but he had heard about the deep love between Luna and Ethan. He had even seen videos of them as a couple online. Back then, the love in Luna's eyes when she looked at Ethan was unmistakable. She would even get jealous if he so much as glanced at another woman. Not like now, where her eyes were filled with nothing but indifference and coldness, as if she were looking at a stranger. How many times must one be disappointed to become so completely different? He lowered his head, a rare feeling of guilt rising within him. Had he been wrong to tell Ethan where to find Luna? Chapter 17. After a long struggle, Ivy Croft was finally dragged out by security, her cries echoing down the hallway. Ethan looked at Luna, his face a mask of guilt. Don't say anything, Luna said, standing up and walking towards the exit. Right now, even the sound of your voice disgusts me. Ethan's face was a mixture of panic and despair, his expression eerily similar to Ivy's as she was being dragged away. Luna didn't go home that night. Ethan eventually found her by the river. It's cold out here. Let's go home. Home? There is no home between you and me, Luna said, staring at the moonlight on the water. Ethan, I'm begging you, just go. Have some mercy and stop torturing me, please. I've already given half my life to this love. What more do you want? Do I have to die before you'll finally let me go? Ethan's eyes instantly reddened, his lips trembling. Luna, Ethan, give me a chance to live. If the rest of my life means having to face you, I'd rather jump from here. At least it would be a clean death. I'm so sorry. Ethan rushed forward and embraced her, breaking down into sobs. It's all my fault, but I can't let you go. I can't live without you. Luna looked at him for a long moment, then let out a cold laugh and pushed him away. You say you love me over and over again, but in the end, you only ever think of yourself. She turned to leave, but suddenly received a call from Penny. Baby, I have something to tell you. Your old phone number was disconnected, so the hospital couldn't reach you. They called me instead. Your biological mother, she's critically ill. She wants to see you one last time. Luna froze on the spot. Even knowing that the country was Ethan's territory and that once she returned, it would be difficult to escape again, she still booked a flight back that very night. Ethan and Donovan both accompanied her. Luna hadn't seen her mother in over a decade. Her memories of her were from childhood, of a woman who was always bruised, always hungry, like a walking skeleton wrapped in dry skin. Now, standing outside the hospital room, she hesitated, unable to bring herself to open the door. Luna, let me go in with you, Ethan said, gently taking her hand. Get away from me, Luna snapped, pushing him off. You stay out here, don't come in. She opened the door and went inside. Hearing her footsteps, her mother struggled to open her eyes. You're here, there's nothing much I wanted to say, really. I just wanted to say thank you. Luna stared at her, stunned. She had never needed her mother's thanks. All she had ever wanted was for her mother to be free. You don't need to thank me. Saving you is also saving myself. The hospital room door opened again, and her mother's current husband and daughter came in to visit. In the small room, Luna was squeezed out with no place to stand. With her mother, she had never had a place. She turned to leave, but her mother called out loudly, Giadi, I'm sorry, I've taken my anger out on you all these years. I haven't treated you well. Luna paused for a moment. You don't need to apologize either. She could understand her mother's pain. Only by completely cutting Luna out of her life could she leave that traumatic past behind and start anew. Outside the door, Donovan stared at Luna in disbelief. What did that old woman just call her? Giadi? Ethan sighed. Yes, Chen Giadi was her old name. Her mother's surname is Gu, so she chose a new name for herself. Donovan grabbed his shoulders forcefully. Does she have a large scar on her right ankle? How did you know? Donovan stumbled back, collapsing onto a chair in the hallway. The savior he had been searching for all these years was right in front of him. He had fantasized so many times that when he found that girl, he would give her the best of everything in the world, fulfill her every wish. But now, not only had he given her nothing, he had actively done things to make her despise him. Chapter 18. A few days later, Luna's mother passed away. Luna shed no tears at the funeral, but on the way back, she suddenly asked the driver to stop. She ran to the side of the road and broke down, wailing uncontrollably. Donovan got out of the car, about to drape a coat over her shoulders, when Ethan blocked his hand. He had noticed Donovan's excessive concern for his wife. It was normal for him, as the husband, to return for his mother-in-law's illness, but for Donovan, a distant relative, to drop several major business deals to follow them was highly suspicious. Ethan couldn't help but suspect he had ulterior motives towards Luna. Now, his gaze was cold and hostile as he stared at Donovan. "My wife is my responsibility. I don't need my little uncle's help." He turned to comfort Luna, but she shoved him away. "Get away from me," Luna screamed through her tears. "Just have some pity on me. Ethan, for today, just stay out of my sight and stop making me sick. Go away." Ethan's hand froze in midair. A sharp pain pierced his chest. Had he really become such a repulsive presence to Luna? Was there truly no chance for him to make things right? He turned and walked away, his steps heavy. In the following days, Luna still refused to see him, and he wisely kept his distance. However, the place where Luna was staying was surrounded, 3 layers deep, by his men. She was under house arrest by Ethan. It wasn't until half a month later, late at night, that Ethan appeared again. He sat on the edge of her bed, reaching out to gently stroke her cheek. "You've lost so much weight in the past 2 weeks." Luna slapped his hand away coldly. "How long do you plan to keep me locked up like this? Forever?" "Yes," Ethan said with a smile, leaning down to embrace her. "I've arranged everything on the outside. From now on, I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with you. And you will stay with me. I know you're the most loyal person. If you leave me, I'll make everyone you care about suffer." Luna sneered. "You're truly insane." "I'm not insane," Ethan said, holding her tightly. "But if you leave again, I definitely will be." The next day, he had hundreds of wedding gowns delivered, insisting on reshooting their 3rd anniversary wedding photos. The atmosphere was set, the lighting was perfect. The moment the photographer was about to press the shutter, Luna suddenly grabbed the cake from the table and smashed it all over Ethan. "Go to hell, who wants to reshoot this with you?" Ethan calmly wiped the cream off himself. "There are plenty of other dresses and plenty of other cakes. If you're not done, you can keep smashing." That day, Luna smashed a cake on him more than 10 times. The last time, Ethan frowned slightly and pulled her into his arms. "Luna, let's take the photos first, okay? After we're done, you can hit me all you want." Luna smiled sweetly and smashed the cake directly in his face. "No!" The photo shoot was, once again, a failure. The cake contained plum jam, Luna's favorite, but Ethan was severely allergic to it. He fainted on the spot. That night, the moment he woke up, he rushed to the kitchen to cook for Luna. But Luna was not appreciative. She rattled off a list of 12 dishes. Ethan spent 2 hours spinning around the kitchen to make them all. Luna just glanced at them and said, "I don't feel like eating these anymore." She then listed a new set of dishes. Ethan said nothing, silently returning to the kitchen and working until late into the night. That evening, just as he got into bed after a shower, Luna kicked him out. "You're not allowed to sleep with me. You're dirty." Ethan smiled. "I've showered." Luna smiled back. "I'm not talking about that kind of dirty. I'm talking about the fact that you've slept with Ivy Croft so many times. It's disgusting." Ethan's breath hitched. He didn't get back into bed. Instead, he took a blanket and made a bed on the floor. The next morning, Ethan was woken early by a call from the butler. Fearing he would wake Luna, he tiptoed out of the bedroom. "What is it?" "Sir, Mr. Donovan Blackwood is at the gate. He says he needs to see you." Chapter 19. Ethan Blackwood walked to the main gate of the estate and saw Donovan standing outside. He smiled. "The butler tells me that in the past 2 weeks, you've come to visit 6 times, little uncle. Is there something you need?" Donovan stared intently into his eyes. "I'm here to see Luna. Her phone has been off." "Jayayu, are you holding her captive? Even if you're husband and wife, what you're doing is illegal." Ethan sneered. "So you do know we're husband and wife, little uncle. As an elder, aren't you paying a little too much attention to your nephew's wife?" He took a few steps closer and lowered his voice. "Just because Luna kissed you doesn't mean anything. She was only trying to make me angry. You don't actually think she likes you, do you?" Donovan stiffened. "Little uncle, from now on, don't come here unless it's important. Actually, don't come at all. You're not welcome here." On his way back to the house, the thought of someone else coveting Luna made his heart burn with jealousy. No, it wasn't safe here. He had to take Luna to the new island he had bought. He immediately instructed his assistant to make the arrangements. For the next few days, he was busy with this matter. The day before everything was ready, his assistant called suddenly, saying that Ivy Croft was causing a scene at his company. She was standing on the rooftop with the 2 children, threatening to jump if he didn't come to see her. Ethan's face darkened as he rushed to the company. Not long after he left, Donovan stormed the estate with his men. Donovan found Luna standing on the balcony. He stood beside her in silence for a while until her impatient gaze fell on him. "What are you doing here?" He summoned his courage and spoke. Do you remember saving a boy who was kidnapped when you were a child?" For all these years, Donovan had been the one taking care of others. The little girl from his memory was the only one who had ever taken care of him. She was special to him, but Donovan couldn't quite put a name to the feeling. Luna froze at his words. "You?" "It was me." Donovan's eyes lit up. "You remember me," but Luna sneered. "Of course I remember you. You promise-breaking liar." Back then, he had promised to call the police for her after he escaped. A young Luna had excitedly told her mother the news. For the first time in a long time, her mother had smiled at her, asking like a child, "Really? You're not lying to me, are you?" "Of course not," he promised. Luna had puffed out her chest with certainty. But they waited and waited. A month passed, then a year, then several years. The police never came. Her mother grew to resent her for it, believing Luna was a liar, just like her biological father. From that day on, she never saw her mother smile again. Donovan explained hastily, "I did call the police, but I was very sick after I escaped, and when I recovered, I couldn't remember the exact location of the village. I've been looking for you all these years." Luna walked away with a cold laugh. "It doesn't matter anymore, but I really regret it now. I shouldn't have saved you. I should have let you rot there. Then my relationship with my mother wouldn't have been so strained, and I wouldn't be forced to face this disgusting person, Ethan Blackwood." Donovan stood frozen. His chest tightened, and a sharp, prickling pain spread through his limbs. "Wait," he stopped Luna. I'm sorry. I can't change what happened, but I can make it up to you. If you don't want to stay here, I'll take you away right now." Luna stopped walking. "Ethan is using my friends to threaten me. After I leave, can you guarantee their safety?" Donovan promised immediately, "No problem." Luna was silent for a moment. "I'll trust you one last time," because right now she had no other choice. Chapter 20. Meanwhile, Ethan arrived at the company rooftop and saw Ivy Croft standing on the other side of the railing. His eyes were cold. "You dare to show your face in front of me again." The last time, in another country, if Ivy hadn't suddenly appeared, his relationship with Luna wouldn't have become so strained. Ivy looked at him with pleading eyes. "Jayu, we have 2 children together. Are you really going to abandon me?" After everything she had been through, she now understood that men were heartless and unreliable. But she had been spoiled her whole life, first by her family and then by Ethan. Besides spending money, she had no survival skills. She couldn't support herself, let alone 2 children. She had no other choice but to beg Ethan, hoping he would take her in for old time's sake. Ethan sneered. "If you hadn't interfered, Luna and I would never have ended up like this. I want to kill you. As for those 2 children, they're nothing but bastards. I don't care if you live or die." His light, dismissive words shattered Ivy's last glimmer of hope. She collapsed to the ground, her eyes filled with despair. She had no reason to live anymore. In her extreme despair, an unprecedented rage boiled up inside her. "Screw you, think I'm the one who ruined your relationship with Luna Morgan. If you were such a perfect gentleman who could resist any temptation, could I have seduced you into my bed time and time again? Now that you've had your fun, you want to push all the blame onto me. Flies don't bite a seamless egg. You're a rotten person yourself, that's why you got involved with me." Ethan let out a laugh, giving her one last look as if watching a circus act. As he was leaving the rooftop, Ethan heard Ivy's hysterical shriek. "Ethan Blackwood, I curse you to never get what you want. May you die a miserable death." Ethan scoffed. But as he walked out of the company building, several dark figures fell rapidly in front of him, landing with a sickening thud like watermelons dropped from a shelf. Bones shattered and their insides splattered everywhere. Warm blood and white matter splashed onto his face. Ethan stood stunned for a few seconds. When he recognized the mangled bodies before him, his face turned deathly white. In that moment, he couldn't tell if he felt more terror or shock. There had been a death. He was taken to the police station for questioning. By the time he returned home late that night, he found the bodyguards at the villa drugged and tied up, the security cameras destroyed, and Luna long gone. He was on the verge of madness, violently shaking the unconscious butler, screaming and demanding to know what had happened. The butler was jolted awake. "Sir, it was your little uncle. He broke in with his men and took the madam away." Donovan Blackwood. Ethan ground out the name through his teeth. At that moment, he wanted to tear his uncle apart with his bare hands. He immediately ordered all traffic in and out of the city to be shut down, but it was too late. Luna was already on a private jet, leaving the country. After a full day of flying, the plane landed in a small town abroad. Donovan had already arranged a house and had people he knew waiting. Luna settled in. "It's been 5 days. Everything's taken care of. Why are you still here?" Donovan was taken aback. This was the 8th time Luna had tried to get rid of him. I wanted to wait until you were familiar with the area before eyes. I'm very familiar with it now. You don't need to worry about me," Luna said, locking the door as she prepared to go to a nearby restaurant for dinner. "I'm grateful for your help, but I also saved you once. From now on, we're even. Of course, if you'd like, I can treat you to a meal before you leave." Donovan lowered his head, a look of disappointment on his face. "Do you dislike me that much?" Luna smiled. "I thought I had made it obvious enough." She never wanted to get involved with any man from the Blackwood family ever again. Donovan smiled bitterly. "I'll leave this afternoon. Then I wish you a safe journey." Chapter 21. Luna Morgan lived in that small town for 3 years. During that time, she developed several highly successful tech products and founded her own company. However, because she couldn't appear in public, all the companies were registered under Penny's name. Donovan would occasionally send gifts. Sometimes it was a gemstone, sometimes a single autumn leaf, or a few brightly colored feathers. On holidays, even though he knew he wasn't welcome, he would still come to visit. It was obvious to everyone that he was in love with Luna. Luna could see it too, but she had no interest in starting another relationship with an uncertain future. She felt that walking forward alone was just fine. She didn't need anyone else by her side. On the new year of the 3rd year, she very seriously rejected Donovan. And as the 4th new year approached, Luna heard news of Ethan Blackwood for the first time in a long while. It was the news of his death. For years, he had been frantically searching for any trace of Luna, but with Donovan obstructing his efforts, he found nothing. Ethan gradually descended into madness. A few years ago, he had stormed into Donovan's office with a knife and nearly stabbed him to death. Besides being unable to find Luna, he suffered from chronic insomnia. Every time he closed his eyes, the bloody figures of Ivy and the 2 children would appear in his dreams, staring at him silently. He didn't know if it was retribution or his own conscience haunting him. Over time, he developed severe depression. A few days ago, clutching his wedding photo with Luna, he had leaped from the top of his company building. Luna returned to the country for his funeral. The priest read from the suicide note Ethan had left. It was short. "The moment I cheated, I thought I was just making a small, concealable mistake, but it turned out that my entire life was ruined from that moment on. I'm sorry." With the deceased gone, all grievances dissipated. All Luna could think of now was the shy, blushing 18-year-old Ethan who had stood before her and asked, "Hi, can I have your number?" The sun was perfect that day, shining on the side of his face. Just as it was now, its light caressing his coffin.